All right, so institutions are getting more and more bullish on crypto every single day. And right now, Bitcoin's price is just about $105,000 per coin. But if we're looking at it in terms of technicals and what's going on with central banks around the world, right, things are really just getting started. Because in terms of technicals, we could see that Bitcoin right now is trading just sideways. It's right in between $100,000 and $107,000 per coin. This is a range that we've talked about for quite a while now. And until we see a daily breakout, either above or below one of these key supports or resistances, well, then I'm expecting us just to continue trading sideways. So if we could see a close above 106.5, then I'm expecting all-time record highs very soon. If we see a close below 100,000, then I'm expecting us to rally, to fall back down to around that 91.5 range. But right now, there's a lot of bullish news in terms of overall economies, in terms of central banks, in terms of regulators. Because if we're looking at it, Czech Central Bank recently came out and said, look, we're wanting to buy billions of euros in Bitcoin. And this was the central bank head of Czech Republic. And the good thing about this is that he said, look, if the board approves this, the central bank of the Czech Republic would eventually hold as much as 5% of its 140 billion euro reserves in Bitcoin. So this would be a massive move that would require them to buy nearly $10 billion of Bitcoin, making them one of the largest Bitcoin holders in the entire world. He said, look, for the diversification of our assets, Bitcoin seems good. Those Trump guys can now kind of create some bubble for Bitcoin, but I think the trend would be an increase without those guys as well, because it's an alternative investment for more people. So that's something that is important to keep an eye out on, because if we're seeing Czech Republic, if we're seeing the US, if we're seeing all of these countries around the world talk about Bitcoin reserves, it's very likely that once we start seeing one of these major countries do it, like Czech Republic isn't that big, but once we start seeing more countries in Europe implement this, it's going to be all of them. And that's going to help drive the price of Bitcoin up to all-time record highs, prices that we have never seen before. Not only is the Czech Republic doing this, but we're also seeing... I wanted to quickly interrupt today's video to bring a word from our channel partner, Crypto.com. Crypto.com has an exciting new feature called the Sports Event Trading, and this is an innovative way to trade your opinions on sports events and profit when you're right. So the way it works is with the Sports Event Trading, you make a simple yes or no decision. For example, if you think a team will win and the contract price is $25, you pay $25 to open your position. And if your opinion is correct, you'll receive $100 as your payout. So that's a profit of $75 minus small fees. So it's pretty straightforward. And the best part about it is that you don't even have to wait until the game ends. If your team's odds improve during the event, you can close your position early. So let's say you buy a contract for $15 and your team advances to the semifinals, raising the contract value to $35. You can sell it at $35 for a profit of $20 minus fees. And you don't even have to wait to see the final result. So this feature is fully CFTC regulated and available in all 50 US states, which offers a safe and compliant way to trade. You can trade directly in USD or even convert your crypto to fund your positions. Plus, all payouts are settled within one business day after the event concludes. So to make this even better, Crypto.com is offering $10 worth of CRO as a bonus when you sign up using my link in the description and you complete your first sports event contract trade. So details are all in the description, but use my link and take advantage of this special offer and start trading in the sports events section today. Anyways, let's get back to the program. Illinois, a state in the U.S., is considering a strategic Bitcoin reserve as well with a 5-year HODL strategy. So what they said is, look, Illinois has become the latest U.S. state to advance a Bitcoin strategic reserve bill seeking to deploy the world's first cryptocurrency as financial savings technology. And this bill would require that the state of Illinois would buy Bitcoin, hold the Bitcoin in a fund for at least 5 years from the date that Bitcoin enters the state's custody. So this, again, would require the price of Bitcoin to really increase, because if you're looking at it, if they buy and say we are holding Bitcoin for at least 5 years, then we're going to see, again, more and more states probably try to do the same thing. And this is just going to require that there's simply less and less Bitcoin available for people to buy, and this is going to help drive the price up long term. If we're seeing institutions, we're seeing states, we're seeing governments all around the world double down their Bitcoin positions, that's only going to help all of us who already own Bitcoin, who have Bitcoin in our portfolio long term. In addition to this, we're also seeing that the Fed Chair Jerome Powell, he came out and talked a little bit about Bitcoin in his FOMC meeting. And in the FOMC meeting, he said, look, Banks right now are perfectly able to serve crypto customers as long as they can understand and service the risks. And a lot of people were excited about this because he's not saying that he has anything against it. He's not saying that it's never going to happen. He's just saying, look, whether he agrees with it or not, right now banks are perfectly able to allow their customers to buy, sell, hold Bitcoin and crypto in general. So that's something that people really like to see, because as we see more and more positive statements from US regulators about crypto, about Bitcoin, that's going to incentivize more investors to put their money in there. It's going to make it much more comfortable for banks and institutions to hold Bitcoin, and that's just going to help all of us again long term. And last thing I do want to talk about is in terms of altcoins, because we have seen that Bitwise has filed with the SEC for spot Doge ETF. And this is a big deal because even though I doubt it's going to get approved, Bitwise is starting to look into more alternative assets outside of just Bitcoin and Ethereum for a spot ETF. So they've gone into Dogecoin ETFs, they've looked into Solana and many others. And so this is something that is very exciting to see, that we're seeing more and more in spot crypto ETFs being proposed to the SEC. Whether they're approved or not, if we're just seeing dozens and dozens of different applications for Doge ETFs, XRP ETFs, Cardano ETFs, like this is just going to help long term, because it's very likely that we are going to see more and more spot ETFs for the crypto space approved, and that's going to bring more capital into the space. So I'm going to be keeping an eye out on all of this, but if you're looking at Bitcoin right now, in terms of regulations, things are looking really good. And so even though we haven't seen Ethereum really rally this year, we haven't seen Ethereum rally for the last couple of years, like that's not a big deal, because in terms of altcoins, as long as Bitcoin's continuing to outperform the market, like I'm expecting altcoin season to follow. Whether it's right now, whether it's 6 months from now, we don't know exactly, but as long as Bitcoin's holding strong, you almost always can guarantee that altcoins will follow. They'll be brought higher simply because there'll be more liquidity in the space. And so that is something just to keep an eye out on. So if you're down on some of your altcoin positions, I really wouldn't be too worried, because long term, these are where you're going to make the real gains from. Like, yeah, Bitcoin can do a 2x. It's possible from where we're currently at, but it's not likely that you're going to see the same type of returns that you'll see from altcoins as you will with Bitcoin.